scheduled March meeting of the Greenways Open Space Committee. Before we begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, we have received word that former Supervisor Brian Loftus has passed away, and so our condolences certainly to his wife Ann and to his family, and obviously thank him for the service that he gave to the township. So just wanted to make that known to people if you didn't already know so. So at this time, I will call the meeting to order at 7:14, and would you please rise and let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you, and thank you for coming on this blustery night, and hopefully the storms have passed, and we're looking forward to some spring weather, although don't put your snow shovels away from what I'm told. All right, I will call the roll. So Urbani, Geist,
Here.
Carson, Brown,
Here.
Phillips,
Here.
Shelton, Robinson, Bartlett, and Brock.
Here.
Good. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda as you see before you? And again, well, I know something that we missed. I have to add to the agenda, it got deleted for some strange reason, the approval of the February minutes, Mr. Geist. So I'll have to add approval after the additions or deletions to the agenda. Sorry about that. February minutes. Yep. Are there any other additions or deletions to the agenda? Hey there. I would then entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Phillips,
Second.
second by Ms. Brown. Any discussion? All those in favor of the addition of the approval of the February minutes to this agenda, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Good. At this time, we have public comment, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And I know the buses are still circling the parking lot looking for a place to park. There are no public comments at this time. Brings us to our portion of our meeting for presentations. Anybody? Kaitlyn, do you have your presentation ready for this evening? No. Okay. Just kidding. Just, any other, any presentations that anybody wants to do? We have none. We have a number of action items. And again, our March meeting is a very important meeting because we try to tie up all our business throughout the course of the fiscal year. Our fiscal year ends on March 31st. And we've already have established when our meetings are, who our officers are, who, if anybody is up for to renew their statement on the board or their position on the board, this is the time to do it. But also we need to approve our budget and our goals and objectives for the coming year. And we have some other items that we have to talk about. But the first order of business is the Greenways open space budget. So if you look in your packet, oh no, we have to do the approval of the minutes.
Yep.
I got it right. Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself. We have to go back to the approval of the February minutes. Could you please take out your stapled copy of the February minutes? Again, Mr. Geist, thank you for doing such a great job on these. Do I have a motion to approve the February 3rd Greenways Open Space Meeting minutes as presented?
Move to approve.
Moved by Ms. Brown. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Phillips. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approval of the February 3rd meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Good. All right, now, getting ahead of myself. If you could look in your packet, I think one of your first things after the meeting minutes was the proposed open space budget for 2026, 2027. And if you take a look at our items, and again, I think we already had some preliminary documentation over the course of several meetings where we've looked at our expenditures, how we've spent our monies. And again, so this year's budget is certainly frugal when it comes to the monies that we are proposing to spend, but also, hopefully within the amount of monies that we have overall. And if you would, and then we can report this, that as of February 7th, or even as of today, there's $48,074.23 in the account for acquisition of property on GROSSE for open space. And there's $67,030.21 for maintenance. The business office reports, so if you combine those two, it's $115,104.44. However, the acquisition fund can generally only be used for acquisition of properties, and the maintenance fund can only be used for maintenance. They can't be commingled. So, given that, if you take a look at our itemized budget here, is there any discussion or any changes that you would like to make in the line items that you see?
I guess I just want to make sure there's one point that's clear to everybody, is that if we hit our budget amount of $48,000 or spend thereabouts, we will have less than $20,000 left in our maintenance budget for the following year and beyond.
Correct.
Yes.
But also the number that we see is based on two things. It's based on past history, what we have over the course of the last 5 years, in a range of what we have spent, but also this year where we went over our last year's budget because it was particularly low in some cases. And we, sometimes you can't control Mother Nature. When the tree falls on the trails or if they are threatening private property, then we have a duty and an obligation to respond in that regard. So that's one of the reasons why our budget is as it is proposed. Secondly, it's we've also added a new item in our budget, a line item, for in the case when we are enforcing encroachment. The money that you see allocated there for encroachment enforcement for surveys or anything, those are expensive. And so subsequently, we never had that. It was always either kind of passed on, goes through the community development department, the enforcement division, but ultimately it comes out of our pot of money for Greenways open space. So we thought, okay, let's be clear and not necessarily transparent, but let's be very clear that we want to add that as a budget item. So any questions or any?
I guess my only question on the encroachment budget item. So if I heard you right, historically, those funds came out of another.
No, ultimately they come out of our. It may have.
Oh,
gone,
they have been.
May have. No, they've always. Ultimately, it comes back. If it comes back, it comes back to us.
Okay, just not last year.
It deals with open space in there, and I guess that's a broad view of maintenance.
And we haven't had any surveys done for several years in that, so.
Right.
There's not a lot of
And it
history.
wasn't a separate line item, it was just
No,
folded
not at all.
together.
No,
I
so
understand.
we want to now
Yes.
put it as a separate line item.
Sure.
And
That's
again,
good.
depending, and so ultimately, the right answer is don't encroach. Okay, so make it easy on everybody and we'll save tax dollars. But when you have to go to certain lengths or extremes, then that's what has to happen. So, any further question on that? If there are no other questions on the proposed budget as we see for 26-27 for $48,000, I would entertain a motion to approve the 26-27 budget as presented.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Geist,
Second.
second and third by Ms. Brown and Ms. Phillips.
Oh, sorry.
Any further, no, that's okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the proposed budget as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? No, good. The motion passes. Thank you. That's good. All right, our next order of business are the 26-27 goals and objectives. And if we take a look at our goals and objectives, I think you would see these on a sheet in your packet and we've looked at these the last couple of meetings, and we've certainly have added or changed or re-added certain items. And so, come on in, all the seats are free, so we're good. Okay. I have to scare them off. Okay. I know, I'm just kidding. So, as you look through the goals and objectives and again, I'll reiterate them very quickly, or would somebody else like to read them? They're fine. We have continued monitoring of all open space areas and maintenance of existing trailways that we have. We're hoping, and again, this is at least a proposal, and your point was, we'll talk a little bit about that. Conduct 2 dump the junk, find a treasure events in the spring and fall. At least that was our proposal. Collaborate with the township schools and the Grosse Ile Nature and Land Conservancy and increase participation in our activities and their activities. Work as a champion or partner with other stakeholders in completing the near-term phase of action items identified in the Grosse Ile Master Plan, which we have been doing and we will continue to do. Now, these are new ones. Increase participation in the open space encroachment enforcement procedures and restoration plans. Successful campaign for Greenways open space millage in 2026, which is new. And again, we put this back, expand our social media presence to improve communication with Grosse Ile residents. So those are our goals and objectives. If you read the township highlights or the latest edition of the Grosse Ile Grand, you'll also see, based on our 25-26 goals and objectives, we have a response, okay, how well we've met them or what we have done. So there's an assessment of those, and so check them out. So any question about the goals and objectives for 26-27?
I think they're fine.
They look good? Everybody?
I think that looked good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
Move forward.
Okay, sounds good. So, Mr. Geis, you said move forward. Would you like to
I'll make a motion.
make a motion to approve the open space goals and objectives for 26-27?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Ms. Phillips. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the goals and objectives for 26-27, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Good, thank you. Motion passed. Very nice. Our next order of business is the millage proposal recommendation. So if you take a look at the little purple sheet in your packet, and for some strange reason, the watermark on my computer doesn't, I put it on and it doesn't print, so it's obviously user error. But my handwriting draft is certainly there, so. Again, one of our goals is to, because as Mr. Geis so aptly points out, that, after this year, our maintenance fund is gonna be down to like $20,000, and we generally have been spending, at least $40,000 on an average per year, if not more. So, subsequently, we're gonna have to go to the taxpayers of Grosse Ile to ask for a millage, which we generally haven't done for many, many, many years, okay? Particularly for maintenance. So, Brian Friel was gracious enough, and I think Margie Gape was also helpful in gathering all the election data and that relative to open space. So going back to the original open space proposal over the course of years as they were, and again, there were two separate proposals for open space. You had a millage for acquisition that was passed and renewed several times, but has not yet, it hasn't been passed since approved since, I believe, 2011. Same too with the maintenance fund. The maintenance fund has not, there were a couple of renewals of the maintenance fund, and that was over the course of several years, and it too has not been assessed to people. So we've been using the monies that we have had accumulated back, more than 10 years ago or maybe more than 15 years ago in making this. So when you're reading this language, it comes from ballots, language and proposals that have been on the, on the election. Would somebody like to read it other than I, in terms of for millage for Greenways open space?
I can read it.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right. Millage for Greenways open space. Shall Grosse Township impose an increase of up to 0.1 mil, which is 10 cents per $1,000 of taxable value, in the total tax limitation imposed under Article 9, Section 6 of the Michigan Constitution, and levy it for a period of 3 years from 2027 through 2029 inclusive, to provide funds for the purpose of maintenance of greenways, open space properties, or future purchase of land by the township for open space use, raising $84,400 in the first year the millage is approved and levied.
Okay.
Question,
Yes.
yeah, this sounds like other ones, but have the lawyers, township
No,
lawyers?
this
okay?
is our recommendation, and
Okay.
that's why it's
So
a
this
draft.
this is really the first step.
This is the first step. So this is our first step.
And then
So we want it, like, what do you want and how, so two questions are gonna be answered. How much, and a mill is $1 per, $1 per $1,000 of assessed value. And 1 mill generally would gather, $840,000, okay? So a tenth of that would be, okay, even less. And so, obviously it would be, that's where we get the 84,000. So it's the amount of money that we're asking for, the residents to approve, but also for how long, okay? This is not a 30-year, operation, it's a 3-year operation, okay? Because we obviously want to establish that and go from there. So, but again, it would give us enough money to, to work with over the course of the next couple of years.
Now, if we were to approve this recommendation tonight, what are the next steps it has to go through before it actually goes on the ballot?
Well, the next steps obviously has to be approved by the township board, and how's that for timings that Ms. Bartlett just came
I was
in?
listening to you in my
Okay.
car.
Would you like to respond to that, or if you just gather and sit down? Ray asked a question like, okay, if we approve this right now, and there's the language
Yeah.
that I gathered from other, elections, so, when it comes to open space millages and things of that nature, what's the next kind of steps? I'm not putting you on the spot, but I can,
Oh, no, you can put me on the spot. So,
Yeah.
so our legal counsel will look at it and approve it. The board will have to approve it, but this will be in November, right? So,
Yes.
so we got a little bit of time and we'll actually go through the process first with some other ones.
yes, of
But,
course.
but yeah, so we'll get ours approved ahead of time and
Yeah, well, we're trying to
make
be-
sure we're in good
Always
shape.
try to be proactive, okay,
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to be the first horse out of the chute, but we want to be in the race, right?
Well, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
nice to see it go through once and
Oh,
then
yeah.
we could always make adjustments after that if we wanted to
Absolutely.
and.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, good. And then it has to be approved by the Wayne County, not the Board of, the canvassers, I think.
Yeah, to
Yes.
go on the ballot, but, I mean, we'll have it reviewed by legal, so I don't think there will
Right,
be any
right, no,
issue.
exactly. But it has to be 45 days, it has to get to them, is what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, before the election.
Yep,
But we're going to want to start promoting this, or at least put the information out there. I
Right,
guess I can't
right, yeah,
say promoting.
correct.
But so how long can we really expect it? I mean, can people start getting the word out before it actually gets formally approved? Or do we need to wait to make sure that it is approved, and how long would that typically take?
so I would wait because we're doing it in November and we have additional time, we can run it through and get it, viewed by, legal and then through the board, and still have plenty of time, I think, to get out there and really communicate with like the newsletter articles and
Right.
different things.
Well, I ask, and hopefully it's not a controversial issue, but I've seen somewhere there's people say certain things, and then you almost need the time to actually explain properly
Oh, yeah.
how it goes, because
Right.
they didn't fully understand what's going on, and there's often give and take, and then somebody else comes up with a different view. And so I guess I don't want to get us in a situation where strange theories are going out at the last minute and we don't have an adequate opportunity to address
Right.
them. So I just
Yeah.
a little leery of that. Hopefully that's not the case, because we're not asking for much. I think it's something that the community has said they're very in favor of, but again, I guess I just want to make sure that
Yeah, the time. Well, so prior to that, we can go out with communications and continue to say and tell people that we're gonna be asking for a millage at the end of the year, and this is how we're going to use it, and, it just needs to go through the process. And then, once we get it approved by the board, then we can nail down and put the exact information in there.
Yes.
So we can at least start to get the word
Get the
out now.
information out.
thank you.
Sure.
I also envision this as with other millages perhaps that we have, okay, is that sometimes you have, public meetings, or you have open forums, or, speakers go to different, like the Rotary or Kiwanis, or they go to churches, and they can say, hey, here it is. We don't necessarily have to say, we support this, but we need you to, to explain it to people so that they understand, and let them draw their own conclusions, or say, if it's my tax dollars, I'll determine how I want to spend it, so
Right.
I don't have a problem with that.
So I know as a board member, I can't say, I can't ask people to vote yes on it, right?
Right.
I can't do that.
Right.
I don't know if that's just the board. This is my first time going through it, so I don't know if any of that applies to the committees
We'll
or.
talk to legal on that,
Yeah,
because,
we'll find out.
yeah, definitely. I mean, we have, as I'm reviewing our, this was just passed, by the way, okay? So our objectives for, this coming year, one of them is
Social media.
successful campaign.
Social media, yeah. I was just gonna say that.
Social media, there's two items there that are like very important, okay? So,
That's the way to
yeah,
get the word
okay.
out.
As a private citizen, here's exactly how I feel. I guess anybody wouldn't be on this committee if they didn't, if you didn't believe in Greenways open space, then, why are you here, okay? So it's like, that's okay. I mean, we can, stranger things have happened. So, but anyway, needless to say, so any further, but thank you on that. Yes.
Bill?
Yes, go ahead.
Chairman,
Yes,
Mr. President,
I've been called worse.
have you had any feedback from the township or any feedback from Margie or Brian about whether they think this is a reasonable request? Is it, I mean like.
I have not, okay? and
We
I
have-
not- I
it's
have
too
not
soon
so-
yet,
I have not
probably.
solicited their.
It's too soon,
I have
prob-
not solicited their opinions.
Oh, okay.
Nor have I talked to, so we've talked to, informally to different people. I certainly talked to my neighbors, and we talked to your friends and that, and board members, obviously. Our liaison, obviously, he makes
Oh, it's too
connections
soon.
with all
I
the
was
entire
silly
board.
just bring that
I
up.
mean, if that be the case, but.
Yeah, well, just.
Recall, in our work, little study session that we had that one Saturday morning, we talked about, we kicked around, okay, and we met with Derek Thiel, and, and so as he's kind of guiding us through the process, it was a question of, okay, well, how much do we want to, ask for, how much, and again, when we look at it, it's a relatively modest amount in terms of impact on the taxpayer. It's, and it's for a shorter duration. It may come to the point where it will, after 3 years, we'll need to renew it, but we also have to be prudent managers and stewards of the property and the monies, which generally I think we do, so. Does that make sense? So, yeah, so we'll get to that. But we're not asking for, and again, we're not asking for 1 mil, which would generate $800,000. We're asking, that's a lot, okay? So just
A
to sit
tenth
there.
of a-
So it's like, no.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yes, it
Yes,
does. Thank you
okay.
for that. Thanks.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So we're talking about just going for 3 years, and then in 3 years, we go through this process again if we need it, or we wait? Are we talking about?
We would, yeah, you would go, yeah, exactly. You would go through the process, like, okay, we need a renewal now.
We'd go
See,
for a
because
renewal
This-
process. Got it.
This
Yep.
millage has not been assessed on, people have not been paying, in essence, for open space every year since, up to this current one, okay?
Yeah, 2014 or 20.
2011 and like
I
2014.
think that's when it was voted on, so it's 13 or 14, I think is last year,
Like
that
last
anything
year,
was
right.
9 and
assessed.
6 is
Yeah,
15.
so for more than,
15
certainly more than
years.
10 years, 12 years now that
Right, at
you haven't
least.
been,
I think it's a great start.
but, well, that's what we have to start.
Yes. Draft.
So,
Nice.
as you see that, is that a motion to approve the proposed millage for Greenways open space for a November election?
Well, it's a draft. We're not.
No,
'cause
we're
it's
gonna
gotta go-
recommend it to be brought to the board.
Oh. Okay, that's a motion for that.
Okay. So moved by Ms. Brown. Do I have a second?
I will second it.
Second by Mr. Geist. Any further discussion?
Just real quick, only because I'm joining late. So looking at the amount, is that gonna hold us over, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
That'll be enough?
If we're, on an average, if we're spending, let's say, under $50,000, okay, and we still have a small amount of money, like, if we run this, after this year, we'll have like $20,000 left for maintenance, period. Okay, so somewhere along the line, that we're gonna be short, so we need a millage obviously, to make up for that. A 1-year millage would make, let's say, $84,000. That's generally gonna get you through 2 years.
Oh, that's 1 year.
That's
Okay.
1 year, so it's gonna get you through
Okay.
2 years, so this'll get you at least, for 5 years out to the future.
I thought this was for the full period.
Okay.
That's what I was
No,
saying, and it was.
No,
Yeah.
oh, no, that wouldn't do it.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
per year.
it says in the first year because the assessed values
Right.
change from year to year, so
Right.
the amount itself will
And the
vary
other
a
thing
bit.
we have to take into account too, when you come with millages, is that you've got the Headley Amendment that they sometimes have rollbacks based
Kicks it
on
back a little.
inflation and based on property values increase, and we're aware of that.
I'll put my glasses on so I won't
Okay.
ask
No,
those
that's
questions
good.
again.
Yes, that's why we're here, that's why we're here. So, but I do have, we have a motion and a second, and so I can call the vote. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the proposed millage for Greenways open space recommended to the board, township board, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Good, thank you. Now, our next order of business, we're moving right along, kids, okay? Just started 7:15 more often. Is dump the junk, find a treasure dates, and you'll notice that there is dates in parentheses. Yolanda, you want to at least maybe express one of your concerns at one point, or not? I'm not.
Oh, yeah, I guess one of my concerns is I'm more curious about what data we gathered about the impact of dump the junk and holding it twice a year. Because my understanding is the inspiration for it and why it started was because there was junk and large weird things showing up in our lovely open spaces.
Right.
And we're trying to encourage the community to have an avenue to remove those items in a proper way, right? So last year, we had only one, and it just, the way things landed. And so that's probably our only data point to balance, okay, what's the value of 1 versus 2 every year? Is it worth the investment to do it twice? I know the community loves it. It's not about that. I'm just talking about what are ways that we can be absolutely prudent with our funds,
Right,
right? And still meet the need
right.
of why we even do it in the first place. So those are just questions I have.
Well, I guess from my standpoint, in my 3 or 4 years that I've done it, we've done twice a year, and both the spring and the fall, we have filled all the dumpsters. So even when we have a second one, that fall one, we fill the dumpsters. The spring one, we fill it even more so because everybody's coming out of winter. But somehow everybody seems to find enough stuff over summer that we have no shortage of customers in the fall.
Right.
So I think it's a good idea to keep it up. And I've had a lot of comments and compliments of how thankful they are that we offer that, and how disappointed they were that we couldn't have one last
have one,
spring.
yeah.
But that was through nobody's fault. So
No, no.
That was a good question, though. I mean, I always keep costs
Oh,
in
no,
mind, but
absolutely.
Well,
yeah.
because the data point is not, are we filling dumpsters? It's, are we keeping it out of the open spaces?
Yes,
Right?
well, the odds are if it's going in a dumpster, it's going to stay out of open space.
Right.
And if you take a look, a good portion,
Well-
we get our
We could still look at our open spaces,
I can also.
and with
I
one
can-
last
I
year.
can speak to that.
yeah.
I can speak to that.
Is there more
3 years
junk
ago,
in our
3
open
years
spaces?
ago, my
well, he
wife.
walks the trails all the time.
Yeah, we do. 3 years ago, my wife and I, who live off of Manchester on Park Lane, were walking, and instead of going on the trail, because the other trail didn't exist yet, the East did not, the East River Connector didn't exist. So as we were walking in the snow, okay, we were heading towards East River, okay, and lo and behold, there was probably a football, 50 yards in maybe, from the, think of a football field, 50 yards in, there was a debris field of trash like you cannot imagine.
Really?
Gutter, oh yeah, I wrote an article for the paper on it. It was so appalling. Boat motors, toilets, I mean, just trash, okay? And it was just like, and so you're looking out across East River at multi-million-dollar homes, and now you see an area here, an open space that were, and I'm not suggesting the residents did this, but you had a dumping ground there. And it was like appalling. And that's even with the fact they had this. So, we obviously got the Boy Scouts involved. We rented a dumpster, filled that dumpster up, cleaned that area up, and that gave impetus to make that connector to go make it a trail so that people can actually walk it and, can be more vigilant in that and try to maintain that. So.
I do like it to give back to the people, and also it's the recycle, repurpose, reuse, and so people are coming there and taking a bunch of the stuff too
Right.
that would otherwise
Well, the
end up in the trash.
treasure hunters are not, the shoppers are not, right, and Mandy can speak to that. Right? People come there for treasures,
They
Oh,
line
yeah.
up,
yes,
yeah.
they're very much so.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Mandy knows, or Roberta would know, but she's gone. The Dump the Junk originally was, they had it twice a year, and they had it Saturday and Sunday. It was a 2-day
Yeah.
event, and at least, they obviously had a lot of energy and a lot of, but, for one day as it is, it's a task, to say the least, okay? And we get volunteers, but again, the other thing I can just bring to your attention is that one of the cost increases for last year was the cost of the dumpsters. So if you took a look at our items for like Dump the Junk, this coming year, we said, okay, we need to increase that amount from the $8,000, because it's usually about $4,000 or so for the dumpsters and for them to haul it away. Now, that's like even last year, the one time we had it, a couple things were happening. We had to add 3 more dumpsters because we were running out of space. So they were filling 15, and then we filled 18 dumpsters. And then, so that's part of it, but then it's like, all right, so we gotta double it, so if we're gonna have 2. So, does that make sense?
I'm still not sold on the data points
Okay.
with respect to the value of 1 versus 2 a year. I'm okay with it, and don't get me wrong, I adore Dump the Junk. I've been there twice. I understand all of that.
Right.
I'm just talking about value,
Right.
right?
No, I hear you.
ROI kind of thinking is all I'm trying to do. And as I was listening to you say that, a curiosity popped up. If for some reason, like we've talked about, if we don't get this millage, Open Space Committee runs out of money, well, there's still maintenance that has to be done on the trail. We have to get or out in the open spaces that maybe trees are falling into private property, or
Right.
some things that actually have to be done. It would come out of the general fund if
General
we don't
fund.
get the millage, right?
Right.
If
Not automatic.
These are the
though.
things that I
Not-
think about,
Not
right?
automatically, right? We would ask for things to come out of general fund, but it would have to be approved.
It would have
And
to
so
be
we would
approved.
probably end up cutting back in what we do.
Yeah, something, you're right.
Right.
Yeah, either that
And
or.
so
it
would
goes-
the community support a dump the junk, and would that funds come from someplace else if open space didn't do it?
Right,
I don't know.
yeah,
That's just something that popped up as you were talking, like,
No,
okay,
I-
it's on us. We provide this service, so maybe it's just,
Right.
one of the things that is a service to the community, that is an actual selling point, not just the original reason.
right, no,
Of
I
keeping-
know exactly what you're saying.
You see
'Cause
where I'm
somewhere
going
along-
with that?
Somewhere
Yeah.
along the line.
So that's all I'm
it's gotta-
trying to just think through.
Because, okay, if you don't do that, so then you get yourself into this kind of forced decision-making about, well, you have to, it's either this or this. It's
Mm-hmm.
either this or this. And if you talk to many residents, it's like, no, we want both.
I want a sustainability plan for
Yes.
Grosseal that I'm working on. And to me, anytime you can recycle, repurpose, it's not going in the landfills. And I think doing it in the spring and then doing it closer to fall too, you're catching all the junk they had over the wintertime, and then you're catching all the junk that they came up with over the summertime.
right.
So it's kind of nice to have it at two different points.
Right.
And then the last one is, it might not be a data point, but we take taxes and we ask things of our citizens, and this is one way we can give back.
Right.
Right? And so I think that does mean a lot, and it's been really well received.
I mean, I guess if you did a Survey Monkey or one of those, like, hey, how do you feel about this? I think this is the one that would shoot up.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I have heard many a time, and I think you have too, not to knock anything, but when dump the junk rolls around, people are anxious to have it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They ask, like, when are you having it? When are you having it? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then they say, this is one of the best things, that I look forward to on Grosseal, besides getting my boat in and doing this, I can get rid of stuff. And
You know,
I think it's really
Mark-
educational too.
yeah, and it
You
really
know,
is.
I think it really educates people about all the junk that we have and what do you
Yeah.
do with the junk, and when you have a place to take it where it gets recycled or people buy it
Yeah.
or take it away instead of throwing it into the landfill, that it's really, I think that part is amazing. I've been really
Yeah.
impressed with that.
But hey, not to lose sight of your data points, the communications, Margaret and Brian Frail just did a survey on communications to say, hey, are they working? What are you looking at? Are you looking at social media? Are you looking at other things? What can we do? So, I mean, that's something we could always think about in the future, to do a survey like that and, gauge the interest and some other
absolutely.
things.
That's a good point. Yeah, go ahead.
One of the other items that has occurred in the last couple of years is that the Kiwanis has seen this as an incentive for the shredding of the paper net, and coupled with this, it's generated a lot of interest in people taking care of both the things. So there's been some, I guess, tangential benefit to what we do too. And if it can expand from that, then even better.
Right.
We've also tried to find places for the leftover treasures to go. It's been a challenge from time to time, and so there's potentially a benefit that we can rehome some things that might otherwise go into
Yeah,
the trash.
absolutely. Good. Anybody else? Anything? And I know Kaitlyn Robinson has generally, since she's been on this committee, has showed up at all the dump the junks that we've had and has worked very hard, so it's good. We appreciate that. The more students we can get involved in that, the better.
Right.
Okay, good. But so number one, first off, are we gonna have a dump the junk, okay? And then secondly, what date or dates, okay? So do we only wanna set the spring date now and then worry about the fall date? So the question is, are we gonna have two?
I would say throw both dates out there now if we have to adjust
Yeah,
later, but
Yeah.
just have it done. And, I mean, do we have the dates from earlier years? Are we pretty consistent with when we have them?
No.
No?
No, you really wanna know? I mean, yes, spring and fall,
There you go.
not summer and winter.
Spring mostly has been either very late April or all the way through mid-May typically, and then the fall, September or October, depending upon a number of factors.
So do
Okay.
you need to look at your calendars or?
I mean, I would like,
The St. James Church rummage sale is the first weekend in May. I don't know whether, I think we've had it the same weekend.
Yes, we have.
As the rummage sale before. I don't know whether that's good or bad. I don't know if that, sometimes it,
It runs up against track
Yeah.
issues sometimes, people are attending.
Well, the first Saturday in May is, May 2nd.
May
So
2nd,
so
yeah.
is that the weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
probably.
Okay.
Is there anything going on May 2nd?
No, not for me.
No.
So we're saying we
May
want
1st.
to have it on the same?
What's that?
Are we saying we want to have it on the same day?
Well, no, I just that it's, that there is another event.
Right. A lot of
I
times,
don't know.
if nothing else, there are many times what has happened with the St. James rummage sale is that people either come, depending on the timing of it, they either come and they can bring some stuff to the rummage sale, and that way there's a benefit to the church and the charities there, or it's can be done afterwards too. So either way.
Should we set the two tentative dates and then go off and
That's
look
fine,
and make
yeah,
sure we don't
right,
have
and
any
say-
other
exactly.
events going on and confirm
That
next
works.
meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the dates, Bill?
Well, and that's what I was trying to
Second
figure
is the
out,
St.
is do we
James.
want to do it
Yeah.
in conjunction with the rummage sale or not?
I would say after if we do it.
Then
I
if
won't
that's
be-
the case,
will
it'd
I
be the
be
9th.
here? Oh, I
Second or
won't
the
be here.
9th
The 9th?
would be the following
What's
weekend.
going on the 9th?
Saturday.
Yeah, I know.
Dump
Is
the
there,
Junk is going on May
I
9th.
know.
I don't have anything scheduled for that. I don't know what else.
That's the downriver, you see the News Herald meet?
Could be,
I like
I think it's gonna be at Carlson this year.
I know, that's why I can't make it.
Oh,
Okay, so May 9th is tentative?
Yeah, let's make it
Okay.
tentative.
Okay,
So what did you, I'm sorry, I didn't
May
hear.
9th,
What?
May 9th.
May 9th? Okay.
Okay. And then you said the fall was, is it September, October, or when is the fall
yeah,
usually?
either late September, early October typically.
Okay.
Early October. October's generally been
We
pretty
did it
good.
early September last year because it was the only
Only
one
one.
that we had, but
Maybe October.
I don't know when homecoming, sometimes we try to avoid homecoming weekend.
Do you know when next year's homecoming is?
No, it's probably mid-October, like early mid-October.
Yeah, early.
But we can just do
What's the first
tentative
weekend?
in
What's the
September.
first weekend in October?
In
I
October?
left my phone at
October
home.
3rd.
October 3rd? Mm-hmm. Let's shoot for October 3rd. So May 9th and October 3rd, then those are tentative dates?
Right.
Okay.
And that'll be the weekend of the rummage sale too.
Oh, there you go. That'll be the weekend of the rummage sale for the second one.
Okay. And we do it on Saturdays always?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I would then need a motion to have two dump the junks, tentatively on May 9th and October 3rd.
So moved?
Moved by Ms. Bartlett,
Second,
second by Ms. Brown. Any further discussion? And again, these are tentative dates,
Tentative.
you know, movable. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Good, thank you. So yes, good discussion too. Our next discussion item that we have is the Earth Day activities. And one of our goals is to get more involved with the Grosseal Nature and Land Conservancy in the schools. And on April 22nd, that's Earth Day. And generally, the weekend before April 22nd, we generally have some sort of activity, or the week before, if not on the day. Last year, the schools, all of the schools, had some sort of activity outdoor where they helped and cleaned up their campuses and so I would like to see that again, and maybe we can talk to them about any kind of activities that they may be doing, in addition to maybe any kind of lessons that may be taught at, in schools at that time, or, the history of Earth Day or things of that nature. Any ideas or any comments about that, or?
The Conservancy is having, this is in my report, activity for ideas and for Earth Day on this coming Monday at 7 p.m. at the Resource Center. Talk about Earth Day.
So you're having your meetings too? The Nature Conservancy's having their discussion on what they
Is-
want to do.
Yeah, it's this
right.
Monday, yeah.
Okay. And I do believe on the 18th of this month, and you're all invited, I think there is a 1:30 meeting, our quarterly meeting with the Grosse Ile Nature and Land Conservancy with like Paul Glure and some of the other members of the Nature and Land Conservancy. So if you're available on the 18th,
This is not the Nature and Land Conservancy regular meeting, it's some other.
it's just a quarterly meeting that we have to kind of coordinate, which we're trying to do with
Oh.
the Nature and Land Conservancy.
I did not know this
Yeah.
quarterly meeting.
Yes.
Yeah,
we've
we
been-
got a notice, was it the 18th?
Yeah, the 18th
Bill?
at 1:30, I believe.
Oh, I thought it was that Tuesday, but.
But anything else?
Okay, going back to Earth Day, that is a Wednesday. So you're saying most activities are gonna be on the weekend?
Before that?
Do we know if the groups have established,
No, not at all.
okay. So right now, it's all up in the air when these are gonna take place.
Right.
Okay.
Ray, what day is it on again?
It's
The
a
22nd of
Wednesday, April
April.
22nd is Earth Day.
April
April
22nd.
22nd is Earth Day.
So how does this partnership work? Like if we come, like, the whole cleanup thing is a great one, right? As I'm walking around and I'm seeing all the debris that's
Oh,
just,
right.
not just in open spaces, but in the culverts and, you know, wherever from blowing around for people's garbage on trash day.
Right.
Like, what do we do? Rally volunteers and,
Yeah,
and let's
right,
set up some
exactly.
teams and
Yep,
meet somewhere
exactly,
and,
yep. And I think a lot of
trash
times, the Kiwanis Island cleanup, is
Yeah,
that not
this
around the
Zion
same
could
time
clean
too?
up then.
Or is that in the spring?
No, I think that's usually done in coordination.
In coordination. So the Kiwanis Island cleanup has crews that go out. And
Oh,
we can
okay,
either
so
join
we can
them, or we
join.
can help supervise or do what we can do when that happens. But that might be one thing. I mean, we're looking at also, what are the schools doing? What's the nature land concern? What can we do to help? You know, if nothing else, our simple thing that we can do is get out on our own trails in the areas that we steward and kind of like pick up stuff or make sure that, you know, if there's small branches down, kick them off the trail. If there's, you know, you see some trash in the woods, go pick it up, you know.
Could we maybe invite everyone, like, to the public and say, hey, we're gonna be walking the trails
Oh, yeah.
today. If you haven't been on the
Yes.
trails, it's a great time to see them.
Yep.
We could even meet in a central spot, and if there's a good showing, we could divide them up or
Yeah, divide
different
'em up.
trails
Absolutely.
or.
Yes, no, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Our social media will get something out on that, I hope.
someone
So,
get me access to that Instagram.
We
I can't access it.
We'll do that. Or if not, we'll start our own. We gotta start our own. Okay, so anything else on Earth Day? Good. All right. Any, part of our workshop that we had on that Saturday morning, we talked about encroachment policy and procedures. And I know we were fine tuning that. Mickey, did you have anything to talk about the update on the policies and procedures that we were talking about?
so I am so sorry. I'm ready to invite people to walk the trails.
Okay,
So are you
yes.
talking about encroachment or
Yes.
what were you? So on the encroachments, that's what I was thinking. It's part of the funding that we need.
Yes.
Is we're gonna have to get some of the property surveyed, at least a couple lots, right? And maybe each year we do a few more. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about was the one on 4th Street, because it's a big piece of property and we don't have any money right now. What do you guys think about taking up some of the sod and throwing down native flower seed? That's what Grosse Ile Nature and Land Conservancy did on one of their encroachments. And the reason I wanted to bring it up tonight is to figure out, if you are interested, when's the proper time, because we're getting a lot of rain and warm weather, but we're still gonna get some cold weather.
Right.
But if you're interested, then we'll figure out a good time to get that down and maybe invite the public and anybody on the, you know, committee that's willing to go out there. And then John Kime, we can get him out there with his backhoe to take up a lot of the sod. And then just, you know, get some tall grasses and native flowers and just kind of wild. And then later when we have money, we could always go back and plant some trees around there.
Well, allegedly, we'll have money in April. You know, after
Well, it'll
right,
restart,
exactly,
yeah.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
Because we restart.
Yeah.
I guess I just wonder if you know, are we really in the business of doing remediation projects and that?
Yeah.
And
good
if we do it for this, what happens the next time we come across something that, at what point does responsibility shift from either the homeowner, the township, to our particular committee in that?
Well,
And so that's what I have a concern about.
So part of the discipline that we need is to really start looking at it each year and taking pictures of our properties so that we can say, it did not look like this last year, right? So we had an issue where the one, they said it was the prior owner, and the one on Voight, I know was the prior owner, right? So I think you gotta start someplace. And, I mean, we could ask the township, but John would take the sod up anyways, right? And I think throwing down some native flower seed would just be kind of fun to go out there and, as a group, and
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think Ray's point is well taken. You know, if we're into remediation for encroachment, the stewardship committee for the conservancy does a lot of remediation. Don't know if they do it. Yeah, and
But it's only on our properties.
but going forward, I would look for the homeowners to do it, and they could hire a company to do it. But before we get to that point, we really need to take good photographs of our property. You can do like Google Earth, and I thought Google Earth showed that there was some additional encroachment, but, you know, I'm gonna pick my battles. But, going forward, if we have some good pictures, then we have proof, and we'll look to the homeowners to
Well,
fix it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, did we not do surveys on the 4th Street properties?
Not that I'm aware of.
They were kind of put a stick in the property and the people pulled them out. But that's why I was saying a couple of the properties I would like to put the metal.
But I thought we did a formal survey on those.
We, s-
No, they
we were
did it
char-
for us as a courtesy. It was
well, we were
free.
charged monies for a survey, so what
think so.
properties were that? It was like $3,000 or
Yeah.
something
For
like
Fourth
that.
Street?
Yeah,
Well, I didn't,
I think it was 4.
the line item didn't, I don't know if it said exactly. It was last month. And I guess the other question too is that, okay, you pull up the sod, you plant the seeds, but you're gonna have to tend to it, basically water it until it grows. Who's gonna be responsible for taking care of that?
So that was the idea, like the Grossehill Nature and Land Conservancy did it in the fall, and then it will go all through spring with it being watered to give it a start. And so, the idea is to plant it at the right time, and with it being a native seed, it'll take better. So the thought is not to be going out there and watering all the time.
But, wait a minute, the Conservancy, what I think you're talking about was done on Conservancy property, it wasn't, you know,
Listen.
it was something that we made it on our own property, it wasn't for what somebody else did in that regard.
But she's talking about open space property that abuts private property,
Yeah,
right? Right?
So
Yeah.
the Grossehill Nature and Land Conservancy also had an encroachment, and they fixed it by putting native wild seed down. So that was on one of their encroachments. For ours, I'd like to do the same thing, but I want to mark our
Right.
property line so that it doesn't start to erode again.
Well, we had discussion prior to this too, in other meetings, that we were talking about literally like putting out like some wooden partial fences that we
Yeah.
can at least delineate, that you could look down a line and you, no, I'm just
See.
using that as an example.
Right.
Look down a line, you know, either east to west, and, oh, that's open space, that's open space, that's
Yeah,
all,
'cause
that's all open space.
property lines are generally
Just-
straight,
And they
right?
are, well, yeah, I would hope so.
Going down a road,
Okay,
so-
yeah, so it's like,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
so
It's
this is
not-
our property now, so
Yeah.
it's called, leave that alone. So that might be, but again, I'm almost positive we've spent some sort of money on a survey that Rains came out and did something that was, so let's revisit that, but
I'll
let's-
ask, because when I asked for them to look at it, it was no charge.
Okay,
But they said, you know, we'll put a stake in the ground, or like a wooden stake,
yeah, yeah,
right?
sure,
And paint it
right,
pink.
right, yeah,
But it wasn't the metal ones that
Okay,
are
all
more
right.
permanent. But
All
I can ask on that.
but let's do that. But again, this probably wouldn't happen until April. Am I looking at that? Because if we're looking at, okay, where's our budget here, or, you know, so this would be on our April money that we would be doing this, and any kind of activity we'd be doing in what's today?
Well, for the seed, it's not that expensive. We have enough funds for
Right,
that.
Yeah, sure.
And for taking up the sod, that's free. That's John Kime.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he doesn't know it yet, but hi, John, if you're watching. And so that's why I'm saying, and then we can determine when we're gonna plant trees, but we should you know, maybe we want to plant trees in the fall
Right.
to give them a good start.
That's
But
fine.
I'd like to put the native
Right.
flower
No, I hear
seed
you.
down
I hear you.
early. And then I can look, actually, I was going to ask Paul Glore because he did it on his project, so he already
Right.
researched it to see the best time to put it down so that it just takes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we, go ahead.
I have a question. So I think Ray's point is the homeowners should be doing that work, but isn't this the property where it was sold?
Well, there's a couple.
Yeah.
So the one on Voight, it got sold. And the people that moved in, I haven't told them yet that there's an encroachment because they are adorable. They are very nice.
Oh, by the way,
But-
I think they should know.
Well,
Yeah.
and they will know.
Would you like me to talk to them? I
I
can.
really, you know what, I helped him move in. I mean, I grabbed a chair for him,
Doesn't matter.
but for them though,
Yeah.
I almost wanted to have a plan on what we were doing and then go and talk to them, right? But so we wouldn't expect them to pay for anything.
So Fourth Street though isn't sold, so why wouldn't the homeowner be doing it? Or
Well,
there's some other,
Because the
earlier-
encroachments have allegedly been removed. It's a question of it's our property, so in order to more clearly delineate it, you would want to let it go back to its natural
Yeah.
state, and then you'd want to have some plantings.
So that Fourth Street one too, the prior owner who owned it years and years ago did some of the damage. So it's really hard to go to court
Right, on somebody who's, right,
and say,
because it was the prior owner, whereas the current owner really didn't do.
Continued it.
Because, yeah, all they did was
Right.
just keep, because that was the precedent that was set.
Yeah.
So we're trying to take
So get these ones under
ownership of
control.
that situation and at least get it brought back. Okay,
yeah,
I,
yeah. 'Cause, you know,
I
you
was
gotta-
chasing that one only because that's how I understood your concern, Ray, right? Was the homeowner should be doing the work and
Well-
paying for it.
Not just that, I mean, even if it can't be established, you know, are we in the business of doing things like that? And, or just let it return to nature naturally on its own?
There's that too. yeah.
Like not even bring up the turf, just leave it.
Right.
No, I want the turf up because the turf isn't native and,
I understand that, but
You know-
nature does take over in that regard.
right.
And-
yeah, but I hear there was more grass seed put down and
I
I just,
understand it, but like I said, I'll go back to the original saying, you start with one, where do you draw the line? And, you know, you can't compare it to Nature and Land Conservancy because they have resources that we don't
Right.
have. Not, you know,
Right.
financially and
Plus,
from a
it's also
manpower
their
standpoint.
property. Well, this is
Yeah.
our property.
Right.
but this is probably our
Right, this is our
biggest
property too.
encroachment. And John Kime would be doing it as part of a township. Like, this isn't me saying, you guys do it. This is me going to the township and saying, hey, I need John
Right.
to do this. Now, the native seed, they'll throw that down for us if we
But you're,
want it,
but you're talking beyond native seed, you're talking about putting plantings, whether trees or shrubs or whatever the case may be. Again, you know, how far does it go and how do you draw the line, you know, the next time and the time after that? So
Well-
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not
Right.
saying,
Yeah,
One-
I'm
I
not saying it's a
agree.
bad idea. I'm just
One of
wondering
the things I
whether.
think we need,
Take
a
that.
couple steps
Agree with
before we
you,
get
Ray.
to the throwing seats down. Number one is that we have to see, was there a survey? Are the properties been delineated at all? So is there been a survey conducted? If not, even so, do we need a survey if that's the case, okay? Or can we, we revisit it? So, if we're spending money, say we put it as a line item, okay, let's do that. The other thing we need to do is perhaps we need to put up some sort of, you need a plan.
boundary,
Well,
something.
you need a boundary delineator of some kind. And then you're gonna need a plan in terms of like, okay, how much of that are you gonna tear up? You know what I'm saying? So are you just gonna make this kind of like a grassy or a planted berm all the way? Is it only gonna be part of the way? Is it gonna be the whole way? Because that's a lot of green, and keep in mind, we are the Greenways Open Space Committee, and so sometimes those aprons, which they have, and you have encroachment certainly, but those aprons have been there, okay?
I don't mean all of them.
No,
I-
well,
I
that's
mean
what I'm
the
saying,
more
so we need
significant ones.
so that has to be clear, because,
Right.
you can't just say, okay, John, we want all that grass torn up from 4th to 8th Street, you know, on all of our,
No,
you know.
I'm really looking at the big encroachments, and then we can start fresh and say going forward
yes.
will be the
I-
enforcement
I
phase so
agree.
that it doesn't
I
happen.
agree, but it's a
Yeah.
question of, I think you need a plan for that.
Yeah.
In terms of like, okay, you know, how big, how much, because that's, again, time, money. Is it within our purview to do that? Make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, ultimately, it is in our purview to make sure that the land that we are stewards of are in a state, right? Like you say, natural, nature takes over. How do we do it? Like, don't really have a process for it. Do we want to accelerate it or not? I mean, it's a great conversation. I'm just, it's certainly more obvious to a homeowner if it's not lawn. I will say that, right? Well, like, that would be an argument, I think, for at least pulling out what's there, even if you're leaving the dirt and let the droppings of the birds spread whatever seed are gonna
Mm-hmm.
end up in that space or whatever it may be.
I think,
I'm not making a decision, I'm just thinking out loud
exactly.
based on what I'm hearing here, yeah.
I think for that Rosedale Nature and Land Conservancy, that was just a small piece of property, but I think it cost them like $100 and seed. And I don't mean seed that entire area, because it's a pretty big area.
Big area, right?
Right, and you don't have to take up all the grass, but take up and mark your boundaries and start to get that growing.
I agree.
You know, and you can like take a piece of paper, lay it out and what you want it to look like.
Exactly.
But, let's just help nature a little bit, because as long as it's turf grass, it's still an encroachment. You know?
Yeah. Anything else?
I agree with Ray. I think it should return to nature. I don't think we should get in the business of remediation. So there.
This is a discussion item, so
This isn't.
I'm not drawing any battle lines here.
There's no.
We've discussed it, right?
It's not an action item. It's not an action item, but it is, no, but it's a
Yeah.
matter of, right. It can
Right.
be an action item for our next meeting, for our
Okay.
April meeting.
Oh, to make a decision on it?
Yeah, I don't, but we can do some preliminary work between now
Yeah,
and,
well, I'll find out about if we paid them to put any stakes in the ground.
Would it be helpful too if you could provide some pictures of that location so we can better visualize
Oh, yeah.
it?
right, no, I agree.
That'll help too.
I probably have them on my phone somewhere, so yeah,
From when you were,
No,
yeah.
but we can project it and we can let people know.
yeah.
Right, because it'll be a project that obviously we're,
The way you project it.
right. Right? So anything else?
I like that too.
Right, okay. Well, we have some reports. Kaitlyn, anything going on in school that we need to know, or at least that we can alert you to make them known?
No, I don't think so right now. There's a lot of like planning. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Earth Day activities going on. The environmental science class has been taking like field trips around the school and doing different things, going to different places around the island, testing our waters, all of that kind of stuff.
Good, awesome.
Great.
Is that Dr. Julia Roscoe's class?
Yes. Yeah.
Good, no, that's good. Because we will be, actually, I think part of that meeting on the 18th at 3 o'clock, I think we have a meeting with Miss Roscoe. So we'll be talking to her too about, okay, here's what we're looking for in terms of Earth Day. Here might be, and again, this might not be a bad, since it's April, this might be nice to get a bunch of students out there to help us sow seeds, or if we have a plan by
Oh,
that
that would
time.
be fun. She
See,
said,
That would,
yeah,
that would work.
okay.
Good. Mickey, anything going on in the township that pertains to us or as it relates to us?
Yep. Hey, can I ask you real quick? I'm just putting in a note to Derek.
Yep.
I put, did we pay to survey and put metal stakes, on any open space property?
Mm-hmm.
Is that good?
Right, yeah.
Okay. The culverts, so I checked with Derek.
Yeah, good.
He said the rain didn't help, but so John said he would have it done by the end of next month.
Nice.
Does that meet your
Yeah,
timing
oh, no,
okay?
that's wonderful.
Okay,
So the culverts for the trail behind the Jackson Center, which we've been looking to get, and we've already allocated like monies towards that from
Yeah.
this year's budget,
Yeah,
okay, which was in the budget.
yeah.
That would be great.
I just think they want it dried out. to
End
get
of
the-
April.
End of April.
Done
Yeah.
by end of April. Now, he
Okay.
might do it sooner, but I think a lot of
All
that
right,
is just
Scott,
based on
this
the
is
weather.
just now, the
and-
weather's just,
That's,
Yeah.
that's kind of why we're hoping for January, February, because it was pretty dry, and
yeah, I
hard,
know,
and
but it's like,
but okay.
But it was hard then.
if we get it done by end of April, that'll
Right.
be,
Well, that's wonderful.
Hey, one other thing. I had mentioned that I was gonna do an Excel file and kind of lay out for our different initiatives and what we need to get done and all that. So you guys don't know that we ended up talking and we're gonna get together, the two of us, because, you know everything that we have going and I know some, but we'll kick that out together. So we just
Yes.
need to get a date to meet on that.
Exactly, we
Yeah.
will.
Yep. I think that was it for me.
No, it's good. Okay. James, anything going on community development?
Nothing major, just the fact that, it's getting to that time of year, we slow down largely for, building permits, all that sort of things. In the wintertime, because it's so cold, people don't want to do their work. And just for the encroachment into, open space territories, we ask you guys to keep your eyes open, keep your eyes peeled on everything for everyone at home as well, because it is a little more difficult for us to regulate those sort of things. A lot of these open space encroachments happen, in backyards. We aren't able to just stroll on in their backyards. Julie, when she's out on patrolling, she's, on the streets for the most part. So we just ask you guys to keep your eyes open, let us know. We are largely complaint-based, and that'll just be a big help. So it's going to start picking up here pretty soon, I would imagine. It's getting warmer. It's raining, not snowing until this weekend, I think, which is
Right.
ridiculous. And then hopefully we'll be done. But just keep your eyes open. Let us know if you see anything, and we'll do our best to address it here and then through enforcement and handle it properly.
Good, okay, thank you. Mandy, what's going on with the Nature and Land Conservancy?
Well, I have a couple page report. I'll try to go through it
All right.
quickly.
You have 2 minutes.
I'm just, what did you
I'm
say?
just kidding. I said you
I
have
have
2
10
minutes.
minutes?
2 minutes.
2 minutes?
I'm just kidding.
You got
Okay,
this,
I'll-
you can do it.
I can do it.
There's half the time you got right now.
I know, right. Never been left.
The big announcement that I don't know how much, I think I mentioned it in the last meeting briefly, but that the Nature Conservancy is purchased an 18.8 acre ecologically significant property on Meridian Road, the largest purchase in its 33-year history, expanding protected lands near the Bruce Jones Preserve. The land includes upland forest, wetlands, marsh, offshore islands, and limestone shoals that support South Hennepin Marsh, a critical wildlife habitat in the Detroit River. The purchase was fully funded by a generous donation from Grosse resident and philanthropist Leo Stevenson. The site will be named the Leo G. Stevenson Family Preserve. The acquisition strengthens the Conservancy's long-term conservation mission, adding to our growing network of protected lands and ensuring these natural areas are preserved for future areas. Do all of you know where this is, south of the Bruce Jones on Meridian, the Bruce Jones
by you.
Preserve? Okay.
Yeah, I actually announced it at the board too, but you did a much better job of it. I didn't have all the details, so.
I noticed, I saw that.
Did
I
you
was
see
gonna
that?
say something, but,
Yeah.
Well, this just
tried.
came out, and to Mickey, this just came out.
Oh, okay.
This is the time for the Grosse High School seniors to apply for the $1,000 Dr. Bruce Jones Scholarship.
Very nice.
April 10th is the final day to apply. All seniors are encouraged to apply for it, and it will be awarded to a student who demonstrates academic commitment and a dedication to protecting our natural environment. Students should contact the Grosse High School counseling office for application materials and submission instructions. And other students from other high schools, other than Grosse may email their completed application to info@ginlc.org. And May 8th, the recipient will be notified. Okay, trail upgrades at Bruce Jones. The Bruce Jones Preserve at the corner of Meridian and Bridge is open to the public from dawn to dusk every day. The walking trails got a big upgrade over the last couple of weeks. A fresh layer of gravel now covers the paths, improving footing and making the trails more accessible. Even during our wetter spring months, we've extended the trail to the corner of Bridge and Meridian, creating easier access directly from the bike path, which would be very helpful.
If I may add just one thing, one of the things we're working with Wayne County and the bicycle pedestrian path is to, if what you've just said is true, we want to make sure that there's a safe walkway from the bike path that ends at Bridge Road to the Jones Preserve. We want to see if we can get a crossing there. Because that's a dangerous corner, obviously you come around,
All the traffic.
and all the traffic that's there, but I think that would be, we're,
Yeah, that would be very timely. It would be a
yes,
good idea.
very much so.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to know. Bill did not know that. Okay, Sunday, March 22nd, the Signs of Spring, from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Meridian Woods, Meridian Road between Manchester and Rucker, would be the 22nd, Sunday. Is that a week from this Sunday?
Mhm.
Yeah. Tuesday, April 7th, and I'm adding this because it's something I'm very interested in, is there's going to be a workshop at the Resource Center on Macomb about Orioles from 6 to 7:30 on the Tuesday, the 7th of April. Earth Day. Volunteers are needed to help plan Earth Day for the Conservancy, and as I already mentioned, Monday, March 16th at 7 o'clock at the Resource Center on Macomb. And hopefully to get more volunteers to help plan Earth Day. And Earth Day is April
And
22nd.
March 18th, we have our other,
What's that? That's about 2 minutes.
that's good.
That's it.
Is that it? Good,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm just kidding you. That was fine. It was
I
fun.
hurried.
It was, no need to hurry. Any, let me see, we're good. This is the portion of our meeting that we have the second public comments, and hearing none, I would ask for a motion to adjourn at 8:22.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Bartlett,
Second.
second by Ms. Brown. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, good, thank you. Good, 8:22.